Resources for serving English language learners. Not everyone has a student in their class that receives ESOL services, but you may have a parent who English is not their first language or a language at all for them, and this information can be used to help serve them. International Center Services. The key services for the International Center include interpretation and translation services, workshops for immigrant and English language learner parents and families, English to speakers of other languages classes for parents, computer literacy classes for parents, international student academic counseling, international transcript evaluations, language testing, help parents navigate the school system, provide information on instructional programs and resources, work with school counselors and social workers, serve on district and school committees, and serve as resources to school communities. Here is the contact information for the International Center, as well as how to access the International Center from the Clayton County Public Schools website. Okay, it's important to note the difference between interpretation and translation. Interpretation involves the live translation of spoken words from one language to another, while translation involves written materials being transferred from one language to another in written form. Both require deep cultural and linguistic understanding and expert knowledge of subject matter and the ability to communicate clearly. For interpreter requests, this year all services will be virtual due to COVID-19, so you can use platforms such as Meet, Zoom, and the phone. Requests must be submitted 2 business days in advance for services, and those service hours will be from 8 to 4 p.m. Monday through Friday. There are 3 different request types. You can have a single interpreter request for 1 student on 1 day, or you can have 2 or more back-to-back. For instance, if you are having conferences and you need to meet with multiple parents in 1 day, and then for after-school activities, which are oftentimes handled by front office or administrative staff. All interpreter requests should be emailed to interpreter@claytoncounty.k12.ga.us. Continuing on with interpreter requests, be sure to schedule double the time needed for a conference or meeting that you would have without an interpreter. All information must be repeated back in a different language, so double the time is needed. Be prepared with documents pulled up and prepared talking points to help things move seamlessly. Speak directly to the parent with frequent stops for interpreting. For virtual meetings, be prepared to share your screen so both the interpreter and parent can view documents and resources. Or once again, email all requests to interpreter@claytoncounty.k12.ga.us. Okay, for translation requests, email an electronic version of the document. Allow 1 to 2 weeks for the document to be translated. And all district level commonly used translated documents can be found on Illuminate in the ESOL folder. And translation requests are also emailed to interpreter@clayton.k12.ga.us. Accessing the International Center online. When trying to access the International Center online, first you must go to the Clayton County website, then click Departments, then Second Language Learning and International Center. And I'll model that for you now. Here's the departments here at the top right corner. Go down to Second Language Learning, click on it, Here off to the side, you have International Center. Please note that there are other resources for English speakers of other languages here, or for interpreter requests, you go down here to the International Center. Once you're on the International Center's website, here's once again that email address that you email all interpretation and translation requests to. Here's the link for one conference, two or more back-to-back, and after-hours extra activities, as well as the information needed for translating documents as well, and online registration that is also in 12 languages. Translation and interpretation aids. Here are a list of free online translation aids. We have Class Dojo that translates private messages and posts into 31 different languages. Talking Points, which communicates with families in over 100 different offered home languages via text message, and Google Translate that translates text and websites from one language to over 109 different languages. Now we're going to take a moment to explore more on Talking Points.
This country is changing. Right now, 1 in 4 children are born to parents who are not born in the US. And that is projected to grow to 30 million children by 2030. We think our Talking Points is just the beginning. Talking Points is an education nonprofit, and our mission is to unlock the potential of low-income, diverse parents in the US.
Our name comes from the fact that we want to increase the number of talking points between schools, teachers, and parents so that parents can have more talking points and richer talking points with their children.
We're able to help every parent connect with the school communities in their own languages through two-way translation.
My husband is a Spanish speaker from Mexico. It was really hard on me until we had these text messages that came through in Spanish. So that made it like I got to breathe. It makes it much easier because it gives my husband the opportunity to be involved.
When you have 31 kids in your class, making 31 phone calls every single day for 180 days of the school year is literally impossible. It's incredibly easy to text to parents and give them quick updates. It's huge. It's a complete game changer.
We're really excited to be addressing the opportunity gap in creating that change and making sure that the future of this country is inclusive and diverse, and all the students that we're supporting can be successful to be that future of America.
Hi, I'm Paige with Talking Points Teacher Support. In this video, I'm going to answer our top 5 most frequently asked questions so that you feel more prepared to use talking points in communicating with your students and their families. Number 1, how do I get started on talking points? There are 2 ways. You can get on our website or you can get on our app. Honestly, I suggest both. Our website is talkingpts.org, and you can sign up with your teacher email, that's what I would suggest, and then start adding students so that you can start communicating with them. On the app, you can do the same exact things. There are some things that it will help having both platforms available, so I suggest signing into both, but it's a very quick and easy process. Talking Points is free for teachers, but if you know that your school or district is looking for a program like this to sign up for, there is a paid version that schools and districts can sign up for as well. And right now, the paid version is actually free for the remainder of this year because of the COVID crisis. We want you to be able to communicate with your families during this difficult time. Number 2, will my information be private? Of course it will. Your privacy is so important to us. You can view our privacy policy on our website, talkingpts.org. But the short version is, we will never share your information with your students or families, and their information will never be shared with anyone either. When a student or parent responds to your message, only you see that message. Number 3, do families have to download the app? The short answer is no. They do not have to download the app in order to communicate with you through talking points. If they choose not to download the app, they'll be going through SMS text messaging, so their data and messaging rates will apply. But if they download the parents app, they can receive your messages through the app for free. Number 4, can I put emails in my Talking Points account instead of phone numbers? Our goal at Talking Points is to help teachers communicate with students and families in the most effective and easy way, and we have determined that SMS text is that way. Studies have shown that even in our lowest socioeconomic populations, people have more access to SMS text than they do necessarily Wi-Fi or email, and so because of that, we only work through SMS text and not through email. Number 5, how can I know if a family has read my message? Under the messages that you've sent, there will be a check mark, and if you hover your mouse over that check mark, it will tell you if the message has been read. I hope I've been able to answer some of the questions that you have around using Talking Points, and if you have any other questions, feel free to visit our Help Center for Teachers. You can also send us questions on the Teacher Support channel. At Talking Points, we love teachers and we thank you for everything that you're doing, especially right now when it's this difficult to do it. We hope we can help you communicate with your families and your students. Thank you for using Talking Points.
You can also visit the Talking Points YouTube channel for how-to videos and webinars. Teaching English language learners. All English language learners have to take an access test, which is equivalent to the Georgia milestone. Here's an example of the top portion of the student's results. Scores for each of the 4 language domains, which are listening, speaking, reading, and writing, are included here. The domain weights are used to determine the oral language, literacy, and comprehension. And you can see the breakdown here up under each category. The overall score is used for when students are trying to exit ESOL and for general language proficiency. Use the various scores to determine what individual ELL should be able to do. These individual scores here, use them to determine what they should be able to do. Okay, we were talking about using those scores to determine what they should be able to do. This is an example of the can-do descriptor, which is on the bottom of the Access report. It's an overview of what the individual English language learner should be able to do based off their access scores. It's a great resource for flexible grouping and differentiated instruction, and it gives details by grade level, and WIDA standards are provided on the WIDA website here. And looking here, you can see in respect to listening, this child can understand oral language related to specific common topics in school and can participate in class discussions. For example, connect spoken ideas to own experiences, find, select, order information from oral description. So if you're trying to see exactly what your English language learner is able to do, this here will give a breakdown of what they're able to do in each one of those domains. Okay, there are 5 instructional standards for ESOL. These are the standards that teachers use for instruction and services. Teachers do not teach content standards, but they help students access those standards by removing any barriers associated with language proficiency. And you see the 5 standards here. We have social and instructional language, language of language arts, language of math, language of science, and language of social studies. Thank you for watching, and I hope this was helpful.